It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
You know, I like Kinky Friedman, and his dad and my grandpa were in the war together, so I got to be nice to him anyways, but he's plying me with cigars during the breaks. Listen, now I wish I had a cigar, an official cigar just made for Alex Jones with me on it, but Kinky actually has that, and in fact, he even sells them. Tell folks about your love of cigars and your website, and then we'll get into the serious issues.
Well, I think cigars are good. I always say cigarettes bad, cigar good. That's my message to young people. And cigars are good for you, and they help you live longer. And if there's any research done on it, you'll see that the people that smoke cigars, like Winston Churchill, lived to be 90. You know, Mark Twain, Thomas Edison.
George Burns.
There's lots of examples of it. But basically, I've been against these smoking bans, and I just don't think it's un-American, for one thing. And for another, they're always saying, you know, they are a bunch of hall monitors, Alex. They're hall monitors.
Control freaks.
That's all they are. And they're saying, we're doing it for your health, Kinky. We're doing it for your health. And the truth is, there are 6 countries in this world, I'll name them, Israel, Japan, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and France. All of them have a higher smoking per capita than the United States of America, and all of them have longer life expectancy than the United States of America.
Yeah, I've seen those statistics. How do the French drink and smoke and everything?
Here's what I conclude. Speaking English is killing us.
Oh, my God.
So I mean, really.
I think TV's killing us.
I'll tell you, America should be that Alex Jones restaurant, no smoking. Right next door, Kinky's Cafe, smoking allowed. That's the way America ought to be. That would be the easy, you know, American way to go. But we don't do it.
Well, you know, it's killed these restaurants and bars.
It's killed every mom and pop place, Alex. Yes, it has. Because
people stay home and smoke, because, you know, smoke their cigars or whatever, instead of going to some bar. And now they have the cops coming in hotel bars when people are staying there, businessmen, and arresting them for 3 beers. What would happen if you were governor?
That would not happen.
We'd have to kill all that officer.
That would not happen. Yeah, that was a low point. It really was bad. It's a terrible use of law enforcement to tell a little old lady that she's got to move from this park bench to this park bench if she's going to smoke her cigarette. And law enforcement knows this. I mean, you know, they don't want to do that. But they have to investigate some wingnut that reports you're smoking on the show here. You've got a guest smoking on the show, and they got to send somebody out here to check it out. And that, too, is just a way.
You want to break the Austin ordinance on air and smoke in here?
We certainly could. Wouldn't bother me. I mean, what would happen, really? I don't think anything will happen.
SWAT teams might come.
Try it or not?
Go ahead, sure.
All right, we'll give it a shot.
Oh, now we're being really rebellious in land of the free, home of the brave.
Oh, my God, I'll tell you, Alex, we're risk takers.
Just thank God it's not a Cuban he's firing off here. Well, we'd really be arrested.
Well, this is a Cuban.
That's the inside joke.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we didn't. It's a gift. Cuban was a gift. Alex, I want to give you these. This is brand new Teachers for Kinky bumper stickers.
Oh, great.
Because you are a teacher, and I'll tell you what you've taught. And I don't want to put you up on a pedestal here or anything. You have taught people not to trust their government as much as they blindly have been doing for the past few decades, and people are getting the message. And I'll tell you, Barbara Jordan, who's a personal hero of mine, Barbara Jordan's grandfather, you know, she was a congressman from Texas, as close to a statesman as Texas has had in modern days. Her grandfather owned a junkyard in Houston, and he told Barbara when she was 5 years old, love humanity, but don't trust them. That is the true message of Jesus. That's what he said, and getting into politics, I see exactly what he's talking about. That, you know, Socrates lost the election, you know. Jesus lost the election. The crowd said, free Barabbas, kill Jesus.
Well, that's what my mother said to me. She came down and visited when we were down at the beach this weekend for my daughter's birthday, and she pointed out, she said, it's taken me this many years to figure out not everybody's nice. Not everybody had nice upbringing or nice parents. There are just a lot of bad people out there. There's also a lot of good people, but good people are always gullible and don't realize they got to stand up and fight or the bad guys are going to win.
That's absolutely true. And a great example of that is the Democrats of Texas. I mean, I'm running in the Democratic primary, but I would say that if the Democrats nominate their usual establishment candidate that they always do, a generic establishment candidate, it will be just another loss. They will continue the 18-year losing streak of not having one statewide race going Democratic. And I'm saying all they need is common sense. They need an old school guy like me that has common sense, that is practical. I don't want to fall on my sword just to make a point. I want to win. So we're showing the Democrats, we're offering an option, a new model for the Democratic Party, which includes libertarians, independents, and many, many Republicans, welcoming them all over.
Now, you ran as an independent last time.
That's right.
And you're running as a Democrat because I guess having the machine will help you somehow?
Yeah, you know, Alex, I listened to your pal, Jesse Ventura, who I admire very much, and I listened to the people that ran Jesse's campaign, and they told me what works in Minnesota will work in Texas. Human nature. And the truth is, we're not in Minnesota, Toto. That's the truth. Texas is very different. There's more people in Houston than there are in Minnesota.
Well, this was 8 years later. You know, he had the CIA 2 weeks into office, 23 of them visiting him to find out how he won. And the system's done a lot to try to stop independence since then.
Oh, there's no question. We did the spiritually correct thing because I felt that the Democrats were getting too close to the Republicans. There wasn't much difference between the two. And the truth is, what has made the Democrats great over the past century is populism, is they stood up for the people against these big corporations and special interests, which is what you're doing, whether you like it or not. You're a Democrat.
Well, I understand that we didn't even have parties at first in this country, and they are always interchanging, Republican, Democrat, what it means. You are for controlling the borders. How is that going to fit into the Democratic Party? I mean, we know with Democrats that's actually popular, but the party leadership won't do anything about it.
Well, I would say that a lot of my views are libertarian. Yeah. I mean, one of them is the border. Another is toll roads. I want to roll back all toll roads, get rid of all of them, and pay for them with casino gambling. That has never been tried in any state. That would work. The lottery, boy, the more I read about the lottery, we're getting hosed so bad on the Texas lottery. I was in the Austin airport 2 weeks ago, and this guy, Larry Throm, came up to me and gave me his card. Very nice guy. He's the executive CFO of the Dallas Independent School District. Before that, he was the CFO of the Austin Independent School District. So I asked Larry, is there any evidence that this money going to the lottery is coming to education as it's supposed to? Do you see any evidence of that? He says, no, I don't see any because there isn't any.
What about all the weird scandals with the lottery?
Well, there you go. They fired the last 3 directors, and paid them off big bucks in rapid succession. The problem with the lottery is it's owned by an Italian corporation. And we go through G-Tech. That's the way we do this thing. And the Georgia lottery is owned by the state of Georgia. And that's why the Georgia lottery sends every kid with a B average in high school to college free for 4 years in Georgia. And this year, for the first time, Georgia University of Georgia, has 2 Rhodes Scholars. No other institution in the country has them. They're from the Hope Scholarship, which comes right out of the Georgia lottery. Georgia, I think, is number 18 or 19 in education in the whole time.
Well, how did that scam work? How does the lottery money not get to education?
Well, here's how it happens.
I guess because Don Carleone runs the lottery.
No, here's how it happens. Rick Perry and the powers that be put it right into the education fund, general fund. And then they take it out when they need it for highways or for other things. They can always get money. And this fund, as Alex Jones would tell you, if you really trust the government and you think they're totally honest, great. Most people no longer do. They're taking this money, they're fleecing it. Lobbyists and politicians are taking that money and using it for their own cause, and it never gets to.
Well, I want to talk more. Well, I want to talk more about your policies and also your gubernatorial campaign site. But what about Rick Perry? Did you see in the newspaper where he was the first U.S. statesman ever, first high-level politician to admit he went to the Bilderberg Group meeting? Was in the Dallas Morning News, which, by the way, is a violation of the Logan Act. You can't go to a private meeting to discuss policy, which they admit they do there. And he's so arrogant, he admitted that he did that. I mean, as governor, would you call for an investigation of that or try to stop that?
Well, I think Rick Perry has, look, he's a guy who's great at jumping in front of parades. Alex, you know very well, we've never heard a whimper from Rick about states' rights or about libertarianism or anything.
Until he got popular.
Well, then he jumped in front of the teabag parade, yes. And he is better friends with the German government, with the European governments, and with the Mexican government than he is with the people of Texas. And he likes being governor, and that's where the story ends. He and Kay Bailey have been in the hands of big.
Well, she is on the Bilderberg steering committee. You talk about big, evil offshore banks that are raping this country for $14.8 trillion. She is on the steering committee, and then now she reportedly brought him in. What are those two doing? Are they staging something to